Welcome to the Effects Loop. I'm Diaz.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Chad Jennings.
And we're keeping you in the loop of the guitar community. All right, this episode is brought to you by Stringjoy, makers of string and joy. If you haven't checked out Stringjoy, visit their website, stringjoy.com. Make fantastic strings. I just saw a cool ad, and it's really neat because they're actually one of the few string makers that actually make their own strings. Most people get it like sent in from the bigger companies. I know I've used a couple, and it's really neat because they make almost any size string imaginable. So I got a set of 8s because
if I want a size 4.
I don't know if they go for it. No, I think we're getting a little crazy with it. But
if you breathe on it.
Yeah, that's it. I tuned it to. All right, no, we're not even gonna go. All right, so that was our sponsor spot. Check it out. Go to see Stringjoy. They've got actually really cool stuff besides strings too. If you need guitar picks, cleaner, all that fun stuff. But we are going to move on to a cool part. We need to do a shout out because we got a new patron through our Patreon website. Jason Fuzzmonger, thank you for your support. And Chris will be getting those stickers out to you sometime in the near year.
This is a second job, right?
Yep.
Well, that's
We're not going to do a 60
third
cycle hum where Steve takes like 6 months to send something out.
we're gonna see if we can beat Steve. That's our goal in life.
Oh, man.
I'm trying to think. It does feel like this is a second job. It's crazy. I wish we could do this full time. So if
It's pretty high paying, I've heard, doing podcasts and stuff.
listen,
Yeah, if we get the right sponsors.
yeah, we're gonna have to get Gibson sponsors us.
It's brought to you by AT&T Wireless.
Yeah.
We're like calling people at the Super Bowl. So how do you get these spots filled? Because we really need help. $5 million for 30 seconds. All right, so we're gonna move on to our what's new. Chris, what's new with you with gear?
The Dan Electro bacon and eggs arrived. I have not gotten to plug it in because I forgot about it because I didn't take it out of the box when it showed up. And
It's an easily forgettable pedal.
yeah. So it sat in my room in the box, just buried under stuff.
If you haven't played one of those, you've got to, because it'll really hurt your sides from all the laughter.
What?
I should
my gosh.
mic this at my gig next week. The
All right, so
now that I'm doing.
So Chad, Dan Electro had the Food Series small pedals, and they
my
had
gosh.
one that was called the Bacon and Eggs. It was one of my first. I think it was my first pedal because I didn't have an amp, and I'm like, oh, it's portable. It's got a speaker, and I didn't know any better. And it sounds like Dookie, and not the album. It's not great.
I was gonna say that would have sounded better.
I think I sent one to Blake Weiland from the Tone Mob for Inner Circle Secret Santa from 60 Cycle Hum, and it was kind of like the gag gift. That was like the extra pedal that I threw in. I wonder if he's ever plugged it in. It's by far the like. It's honestly, when you think of Dan Electro in like a negative sense, it encompasses everything you could think of.
I've played some good Dan Electro guitars.
Yeah,
But
they actually
like
have
new
pretty
ones.
decent. Yeah, they have pretty decent pedals. The Food Series was kind of the weird thing that people either love or they love to hate because their plastic enclosures are really small. The knobs fall off. There was so much wrong with them, and the sounds weren't amazing. There were some that were great. The PB&J delay was good. I know the Fish and Chips, the 5-band EQ, or maybe it's 7-band. The EQ pedal is renowned. The Tuna Melt is a tremolo, I believe, or a speaker emulator, like a spinning speaker.
Okay.
And that actually won Pedal of the Year, I think, through Guitar World one year.
Wow.
Which is kind of crazy to think about it. But everything else is pretty much a joke. But it's funny because I actually collect that series. I collect Dan Electro pedals. And like And 100%, I can honestly tell you what I collect. And the reason why I collect them is because they're cheap. You can get them for usually like 20 to 30 bucks each.
That's unreal.
So if you haven't checked this out, if you ever like cruising Craigslist or anything, you've got to just find one. Send us a message and I'll tell you if you should try it or not.
How is Craigslist? Where are you guys from?
I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee area. Chris is in Memphis, Tennessee.
Yep.
How is Craigslist over there? Because
it's the same people posting the same stuff all the time, but every once in a while you get that weird, crazy, random find, and it's worth checking periodically.
Gotcha. I know because like I'm near LA, so if I'm willing to drive, it's like you could find a lot of things on Craigslist, like a ton of things.
Yeah,
I could imagine.
I normally
It's still
look at
pretty
like Nashville for good stuff.
Yeah, I actually check out Nashville quite a bit too, because we're both about 3 hours to Nashville. I think Chris is closer to 4, maybe.
Okay.
A little bit.
And so if I ever found anything really good, I could make the trip. I actually picked up a guitar. I met a guy halfway between Knoxville and Nashville one time. And most people in Nashville are willing to drive. So I guess it's kind of the same thing because musicians got to pay the rent. So they'll sell whatever they have to.
Yeah.
And you got full-time musicians out there, so that always works out because 90% of full-time musicians are doing what they can to pay the rent. So,
You know, all the guys I know in LA that are like just barely making it, if making it at all, they're all pop star session players.
really?
You know, like, yeah, like the guy who plays at my church is Katy Perry's bassist. And
That's crazy.
Wow.
I knew the guy who played on tour with Meghan Trainor. Yeah, it's just those are the gigs that pay money. It's weird. It kind of feels like a sellout in some ways, but like,
Oh no, dude! Listen, if Justin Bieber called me and is like, "Hey, will you play guitar on my upcoming tour?" I would be like,
you'd be there.
in a heartbeat. I'd be singing "Baby, Baby, Baby" all day long. I don't care. My dignity goes out the window at about $40K a year. So,
Dude. At this church I went to in Malibu for a little bit, I actually Bieber's family showed up. As crazy as that is. A few times, like his mom, his brothers and sisters were there. I was like, say what?
Yeah. So that story confirmed then that he's potentially maybe doing better.
yeah. Well, Bieber was really big on. He's big in Hillsong, New York, with I forgot the guy's name. It's like,
He's a believer, but I think he so much money and so much stuff going on. It's like you're bound to slip up. It's just bigger when you're that much bigger. When
Well,
I
even
slip
when
up,
Why
it's
we live
not.
by forgiveness instead of everything else.
well, even then, how young was he when he got that much money? I mean,
That's a good
man.
point too.
well, I was watching an interview talking about Michael Jackson, or no, it was Steve Harvey who was talking about Michael Jackson. He's like, listen, he just lives in a different world than we live in. He's like, do you like Michael Jackson owns 2 giraffes? You wouldn't even know where to think about shopping for a giraffe. Like,
Yeah.
like you'd be calling the zoo trying to buy a giraffe. I was like, that's literally what people got to think about sometimes.
Yeah, totally.
All right, so we're gonna get back on topic. Chad, you fit in very well because you get off topic just like we do. It's
Oh
beautiful.
man, I love aiding the off topicness.
All right, so we've got we're on me. So I actually
skip
picked up
yourself.
I picked up the Ernie Ball Expression series. I went to Guitar Center on Saturday. My wife was like, "You need a day, just do whatever you want to do." So I went and checked out some guitar shops I haven't been to in the area, and I went by Guitar Center and I turned to my wife. I said, "Jess," I said, "I'm going to Guitar Center. I don't plan on buying anything, but every once in a while, they don't realize what they have in their used section. So I always go and try to find a really good deal. I picked up like a Cusack Tapa delay for, I think it was under $100 one time. And it's just, I don't know what it is about my Guitar Center. They just don't know. But they actually
That's really funny.
They actually had the Expression series from Ernie Ball, which kind of was a flop. It wasn't a huge seller, it seems. They had them on sale for $65 a piece. and they're usually $150. We've got our chat group for people who support on our Patreon for the $5 or more, and Will Hughes in there. And I sat there, I messaged, I was like, holy crap, these are $65. I might pick them up. And Will's like, I've called all around and no one else has them for that price. So I asked the guy, I said, these are pretty great price. He's like, yeah, they're on clearance. I said, my friend says that he can't find them in his area. And he said, yeah, he said, clearance just goes store by store. I was like, oh, that's cool. So I picked up 2 of those pedals for under what one pedal would cost me new.
What?
And yep. I bought both of them. It was $140 after tax and everything. And Will, actually, I bought him a pedal and I shipped it to him. So it pays to be a Patreon supporter. So
wow.
He sent me the money. I sent him the pedal. It was great. And I think it was pretty much my what's new. We do have some cool stuff about to come to us. We've got a couple companies who've sent us a few little products to review and talk about on the podcast. So keep your eyes open up for that, guys. Whatever the phrase is, which I can't. Hard. Yeah, you know what? That's been a long day. So Chad, what's new with you?
Man, I don't know. Orders have all of a sudden just like skyrocketed. Apparently, I'm a part of some Facebook groups that, I don't know, making things happen. But I'm super stoked. We just came out with the Navigator a little bit before NAMM. For those of you who don't know, the Navigator is our tele model, and it's more economical, more affordable than our other guitars. So yeah, that's the first thing. And soon, not yet, I'm too busy to draw it up right now, but we're going to do a semi-hollow Navigator tele type guitar, and it should have all the semi-hollow and the current Navigator. You can option them up into basically any pickup combo, any bridge combo. Yeah. So that's what we got brewing.
That's really sweet. Every time I see a Navigator, I like fall in love even more. One of the greatest things, if you're a fan of wood grain showing through,
oh yeah, Chad's
got it. Every time I'm just like, oh, that wood grain, like it's like, oh, so you're talking about those two. We'll go ahead and we'll kind of let you tell us a little bit about yourself before we move on to gear news.
Yeah.
So Navigator's your newest baby, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
But tell us about your other.
We have other babies too. We have a total of, I don't know, 3 babies now. Is that what it is? 4 of them. So we got our Voyager offset model, and the Voyager can come standard, being solid body, or deluxe, being semi-hollow. And then we also have a Catalina, which is mainly semi-hollow. We have done one solid. But yeah, I don't even know where to go. I love shaping necks. Mm-hmm. It sounds weird and guitar nerdy, but I really like the player's interaction to a neck. So I do like a little bit of a soft V meet C. So something with like, I call it slope shoulders off the side of the neck, but definitely round on the back. So it doesn't really feel like a V. So yeah, it's something super important to me. Resonance, high resonance in guitars, lightweight guitars, super important to me. I try to pick materials that I can make both of those things happen with. Yeah, I don't know where to go. I love guitar making. I love the relationships with like you guys and all the people I met at NAMM, and so that's really fun for me. It's becoming difficult as I'm getting busier, but yeah.
How long have you been in business?
Oh man, I'm really bad at counting. As funny as that sounds. December 2014 was the official like open date for Jennings guitars. Okay, but we had like been working unofficially at sheds in my parents' house a few years before that. So.
Well, one of the cool things is it seems like you've really embraced the podcast and Facebook world.
Yeah,
and it's really cool because it seems like that's just where the guitar world is heading. It used to be you're always checking out what was in the magazine this month and all that, and it's become so great because the builders get to be in and be personal, and build those relationships, and it's really awesome. And you've really embraced that. So
thank you.
And it seems like you've been doing it for a while, but it seems like recently you've just kind of hit a home run and have been going.
Totally. And
I've seen Jennings Guitar's 60 cycle hum. Was it Brian Wall is it worship tutorials?
Yeah.
And that's another one where I've seen it, and every time I see it, I'm just like, oh, that's beautiful.
Dude, he keeps telling me how much he loves that guitar. I was like, I have a hard time believing it. I think like as a builder, you have like a disease of, oh, it's never perfect. Because your goal is to always improve and keep improving. So that's always like, I guess, the monologue in your head. So he says it's incredible and he loves it. And I've got tons of orders from him and kind of what they're doing. So that's been huge for us. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard getting yourself out there. And I would say I've sacrificed a lot of productivity time to really try to push out and be relational and, I don't know, get out on Facebook and podcasts and stuff like that. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I'm trying to think. Hold on. I'm having like a total brain. I got to check something. I was trying to see. All right. So there was a couple, I did post in our group that we're about to record with you, and we had we said, did you have any questions? And there's a couple cool ones. I think it would be really good, so everyone can know you better. What's the one thing that you wish people requested more of, or you just requested like that they would request from you?
Ooh, that's a hard question.
That was like, he like completely went with like that's from Jason, who we just gave a shout out to. He went like straight deep right away.
I love it. I'm going to take like 2 mindsets on that.
Okay.
Maybe even 3. There's kind of what's easier to make and makes me more money and I like to do. And that's going to be the satin finishes. They are easier. They're more forgiving. But at the same time, I'm finding that the satin finishes also sound the best. And the reason for that, I know, I kind of put the money thing out there first, so everyone's going to be like, oh, bullcrap. But yeah, so the satin finishes over the gloss, the material is harder. The paint is harder, so kind of your cap tone is and your resonance is higher on the guitar. Also, with the satin exposed grain type finishes, I'm able to coat thinner, which is also increasing your resonance. So for me, doing satin stuff with like a roasted neck is always the best sounding stuff. And I got a good amount of orders for those, but I wish more guys would do it. Cool things would definitely be like dog hair. I haven't figured out a good way to do it, but I can do them well.
So if someone didn't know what dog hair was,
what is dog hair?
that's why.
Explain it to us like we're 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so dog hair is like a high contrast grain filler. So you take a porous wood like ash, and I coat, let's say, black onto the wood and get the grain to sink into it, right? Or the paint to sink into the grain. And then I wipe in grain filler in the sunken grain, contrasting color. In this case, I usually do black. And it gives you this negative effect. Think of like a black lab with gray hair.
Did you do a Voyager with like the white in there? Is that on your website? I think it's on your because I'm looking at your website.
Man, maybe. Yeah, I did one with white and black grain fill. Is that the one you're talking about?
Possibly. I'm not sure.
There's some on there. Instagram's the best place to look through it.
Okay.
But
I'm pretty sure I know what you're saying, but I've been wrong about things before.
If you look up dog hair, like, dog hair finishes, tons of stuff will come up.
All right, so if you're pausing the podcast, come back because it's about to get better.
Sorry. What else? Dog hair was sick. Yeah, I don't know. I love making the semi-hollow Voyagers. It's hard for me. You like how I'm artist braining all over this question? No. What do I wish guys would ask more of? More roasted because it sounds the best, and more satin exposed grain like swamp ash type finishes because they sound the best too. And that's what I care about most, is how it feels and how it sounds.
I think the roasted necks feel amazing.
Yeah, and some guys argue that they don't sound any different. I say bullcrap to that. I will pick up 2 pieces of wood, one roasted, one not, that are like the same size, and knock on them and just kind of listen to them. And the roasted rings like a bell. And when I tap on it, and the maple, it rings well, but not nearly, we're talking the last like 5 to 10% of like greatness here,
Mm-hmm.
And the roasted is that extra 5 to 10% that really makes a guitar from good to sweet. So yeah, that's kind of what I would do.
Okay, cool. Next question was favorite hot dog toppings.
Oh my goodness. I used to work at Costco, so I have had plenty of hot dogs. Just ketchup, mustard, relish. Actually, I take that back. My family will go out on the lake and we do chili dogs. Chili dogs with cheese, a little bit of ketchup on there, and freshly barbecued is the way to do it. Chili dog. Homemade chili dog with cheese.
You see, even our listeners are not able to stay on topic. What's your favorite guitar pedals? Or pedal?
Ooh, pedal singular. I'm a reverb guy. I like my amps for overdrive. I do like a bunch of the pedals for overdrive too. But right now it's the Mercury M7 from Maris. I've been using that one, and yeah, it's sick. Super dynamic. Lots of modulation type stuff. I'm not super into the modulation type stuff, but I do like to use it lightly just to give a little flair. But yeah.
So what style of music do you really play? Like, what's the style that you most typically play?
Oh man, I just play noodling. I play noodling to test the guitars. That's really all I'm doing right now. So kind of be a bluesy vibe, kind of be like a stratty, chunky vibe. I grew up listening to heavier music. Like, one of my favorite bands was Thrice, is still. But yeah, so I'll play some of that. I'm just all over the board. Okay. I definitely came from more of a guitar nerd background of like, ooh, if I make this, what does it sound like? I played a bit, but like never really connected as a band. But I had drums in my bedroom growing up, so we'd have like my brother and I would have jam sessions in my bedroom like almost every day. So that was cool.
Okay, sweet. Is there any material you wish you could work with more or at all, but can't due to the cost or availability?
Not really. Yeah, not really. I really like roasted maple for necks. I've done a few rosewood necks. Those are really nice. Which it is available. It's just somewhat harder to get. But yeah, I don't know. There's tons of good options. But nothing that I can't really get. So
for all of our listeners, Chad's actually still working. He took time out of the workday to do this. So that's
totally. I apologize for the phone, but yeah.
Hopefully it's not something that's going to keep calling back. They're like, I know you're sitting right there.
No. If they want me, they'll come in the shop.
All right. Last question from Jason was, what's your favorite amp and or cabinet?
Ooh, that's a hard call. Right now it's the Benson that I have. I have a Benson Monarch, and it's finished in walnut head, walnut cab. So that thing's really sick. Definitely made a few of my own amps, one like a Tweed Deluxe, and then I also made a Tweed Champ. So,
how heavy is that Benson?
It's not that heavy.
I just imagine I guess walnut is it a lighter wood? So I could just imagine like a head.
Walnut's fairly heavy. The head's heavy, but you got a bunch of iron in there. He puts huge transformers in there so you can get the tone that he wants. Okay. But yeah. It's not horrible. The speaker cab's pretty dang light, actually.
And then Joshua Frazier asked, "What is Clifton Worley like?" Were you on Clifton's show?
Yeah, and Clifton came by at NAMM.
Okay.
What is he like? I don't think I got enough out of our guitars.
No, like what is he like?
Like what is
Just
he
as a
like
human being.
person? I'm guessing.
I don't know why.
It's an odd question, but okay.
Yeah, okay. Hey,
Clifton's a cool dude. He's super mellow. Yeah, he definitely, I guess, likes to honor people the best that he can.
He really does.
But
he's
yeah.
a fantastic guy. So he stayed with us at Summer Nam.
Okay.
We roomed up there. Him and Daniel Shields from DS Guitar Engineering and his brother. So, but Clifton was like, Clifton's like one of those guys that you just meet that encompasses Southern charm.
Yep.
I think that's the best way to put it. Like when you think of like that Southern gentleman, you know, wouldn't say anything, but you can tell like if you'd make him mad, it wouldn't be fun. But he's just super sweet. Like that's Clifton Worley.
Yeah.
And then there's Jonathan Southern.
There's I'm like the super Yankee. Like when you think of the super Yankee, I'm the super Southern guy.
Oh man.
Let's see. Oh yeah, no, we get to actually talk to a little bit of guitar news. Get back into the full episode. Fuzz Roche's pedals announced the Playing Mantis is up for sale this Friday. It's a really cool pedal. I wanted to talk about it just because they've started doing something that really I haven't seen before, and they've added it to a bunch of their new pedals, and it's really cool. And it's self-oscillation fuzz. So, or like it's like a self-oscillation note that plays behind your playing. It's really weird. You've got to go check it out.
That sounds like a trip.
It really is.
Trip.
Well, it's like I could imagine playing with it in like one of those crazy, all instrumental bands where at the end of the show the guitar, like the lead guy just is down on the ground playing with all of his pedals, like his hair is covering his face. I've got this distinct image in my head. I'm gonna paint it for you. You will know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, the guy's got the long hair like Jesus with the beard and all that, and you're just like, he's just making weird noises. This is the pedal for that, and I really want one because it's only $175, and it would probably bring me hours of fun. It's like buying an Xbox. So if you haven't checked that out, go check it out. I think the first 50 are going to be acid etched and they look crazy cool. But let's see. Dark Glass Electronics unveils two new bass amps. Dark Glass makes killer stuff. They're like the it company of the boutique bass world, I believe.
Talk about a niche.
Yeah, they're like the bass players who care what they sound like. All 7 of them. No, I'm just kidding.
But really,
you're like we're laughing because it's true.
Oh man, I keep talking about making a bass, but we'll see.
I don't know. I feel like for bass guitars, it's really, I'm not saying odd in a bad way, but it's just different to see them make a bass, because it seems like most companies either do one or the other really well, unless you're like unless you're Fender, because even Gibson really doesn't do a whole lot of bass stuff besides, well, they do Thunderbirds and stuff.
Yeah, but when's the last time you saw somebody playing a Thunderbird versus a Jazz or P bass or something super custom?
Yeah, it's like Fender's one of the big companies that can do it, but I think there's companies like Marcus Miller doesn't he a part of something? And most of them, like if you're boutique bass, you do boutique bass. I know Doug Cower's done a few basses, but I don't think it's like a real popular thing he does.
No, I talked to him about that one time. He was like,
don't do a bass. Like I could just see him being super serious. Like
basically, he's like, don't do it. He's like, everyone asked for me to do it, and I did it, and then nobody bought it. Exactly.
I think Doug is he imparts so much wisdom because he's just straight about it. And there's been plenty of times I'm in his little group he has for like Titan and Cower owners, even though I don't own it because it says all are welcome. He just goes honest in there, and it's great to see him. He's like, listen, no one's buying the crap, so I'm going to stop making it. So don't bug me about it after I stop if you're not going to buy it when I'm selling it. I'm just like, I was like, dang, that's hardcore. Like but it's a niche market, the boutique bass world.
I think the key is going to be to just build a good jazz and P, but modify it slightly. Like everyone has said about our guitars, it's like people even use the word. It's like it's in the box that like a guitar should be in. It's not outside of the box, but it's not necessarily like everything else that's there. And I was like, wow, because that's what I've tried to do. I try to create guitars that are very classic looking, very timeless, and a lot of people have like reiterated the exact words that I've told like even my wife of like, hey, here's what I want to do. And she heard people like say that at NAMM. She's just like, are you kidding? So you can argue that like my guitars may not be like the most artistic, but as an artist, when you're trying to convey a concept and people are getting it, I'm like, I don't know. It's exciting.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's tough in the gear world because if you do something too crazy, like not many people are going to do it. But if you kind of stick to the standard stuff, everyone's like, why do you stick to the standard stuff? And you're like, well, number one, that's what people apparently want.
Yeah.
Because they keep buying it.
Hence all the Fender copy companies.
Exactly. There are, you know what? Is there a boutique company that does an SG?
You know, that's really funny. No, not that I know of.
Because the SG is kind of, I'd say it kind of died out for a while, and I feel like it's kind of making a comeback.
It totally is, which is really awkward.
You're like, I'm working on it. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, no. That was actually my first guitar, being an AC/DC fan. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get an SG.
When I got my first like guitar that wasn't my like beginner guitar that someone bought me, when it was my first guitar that I chose to buy, I totally got an SG. The reason why I picked up guitar is AC/DC live at Donington. Whenever Angus comes out doing Thunderstruck at the beginning, that was it. I was like, that's what I want to do.
Yep. So, yeah. So maybe I should make an SG. Maybe that's the answer.
You're gonna have to do it for like 1 year, and like you're like,
and then stop after the trend dies.
That's it. You just ride the wave. That's.
Oh my gosh, that's like so against my beliefs as a builder.
You're like, I want to go against the grain. Like,
no, I want to build timeless stuff. I want stuff that's like going to look cool and last.
That's true too.
I don't like chasing trends, but I think you can do timeless stuff that looks classy and good.
If not, you just be BC Rich. You're like,
oh my gosh.
I'll be honest. There was like 5 minutes in like 9th grade that I wanted the Kerry King.
Oh my gosh.
Sure. That's my dirty secret right there. I don't hate BC Rich too much.
Too much.
Like
just a little bit.
Just like 33%, 1/3. That's where I'm at. All right. And then the last pedal, or the last thing we're going to talk about is the pedal. TWA launched a mini morph dynamic wave shaper. So
what does that even mean?
All right. So it's like a filter sound almost to like a fuzz sound. So think of like a sputtery fuzz and like weird kind of filter sounds. So
interesting.
Envelope dependent drive circuit. So it's just kind of this weird fuzzy burp sound. So it's pretty neat. You should check it out. I like it because I like weird pedals. I'm totally down for like those odd things that you'll never use live, but they're fun to play with. It's like the Pelican Noiseworks Benson 6100. I actually use that live, but it's just a weird.
Someone's got an alarm.
That was me.
Is it dinner time?
No, actually, it went off in our episode last week too. I did communion with my family every night for a week. So
okay.
So that was my alarm that I keep. And every night my wife's like, "Why do you have an alarm at 7 o'clock?" I was like, "It's a communion alarm," and I totally forgot to turn it off. I'm gonna do that on air. All right, boom, it's done. It won't happen again, guys.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And all right, so that's pretty much the gear news. Once again, we talked about NAMM happened and everyone went crazy and announced stuff, and it was really fun.
Okay, just a note for like my corner at NAMM. Literally, if you walked around with a sound meter, it was between like 95 and 101 decibels in my corner for 8+ hours.
Oh my gosh.
And you're like, it's like being at a concert trying to talk to someone, you're yelling at them. Well, we pretty much at a concert yelling at people for 4 days straight.
Oh my. Well, Summer NAMM's not too bad. I'm sure
I need to go to
NAMM's,
that one.
Yeah, they got sound police over there, so.
Listen, if you go to Summer NAMM this year by any chance, I will take you to Bolton's Hot Chicken and we're gonna have a good old time. That's the best.
That sounds really good.
That's the best hot chicken ever. That was the craziest, because that's we were there when 60 Cycle Hum did the hot chicken challenge with Anthony and Clifton. Anthony from Sinusoid.
Yeah,
that was nuts. Chris, were you there for that? You were there, right?
For which one?
When we went to Bolton's and they recorded the hot chicken challenge.
Oh yeah.
Because
2 years ago, because Anthony got his
his
stuff in his eye.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not laughing at Anthony, but it was definitely an interesting thing. It was kind of crazy. So, let's see. So we're gonna move on to our topic. I actually picked the topic this week because of some stuff I saw go down today. it was in a group. Someone posted this post, and all heck broke loose on him. He said, "Am I the only one who finds it completely ridiculous that quote unquote boutique pedals, which probably cost $15 to build, sell for $300?" And he posted that in a group that has a lot of people who build those boutique pedals. Brian Wampler chimed in. Jason from Wampler chimed in. I'm trying to think who else. Leon from Pelican Noiseworks commented. There was just a lot of people that kind of went in on that. And the builders didn't really lay into the guy. It was mostly everyone else, because we know builders, are going to be well-behaved people, and everyone else on the internet are wildebeest.
Totally.
They're just horrible people sometimes. But I figured it would be cool to talk with Chad here, because you're in a business and you know the stance of the person who's spending the quote unquote, and I use big quote unquote, $15 in parts for a $200 pedal. So the thing that blows my mind is that there's humans out there that don't realize that a business is in the business of making money. And I understand that there's nonprofits and everything like that, but the whole point is no one goes in business to say, I really hope I barely get by until I'm 60 something.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole thing. Everyone, if you're in a business, you need to dream big. And that's just the way it is. You always want to look at building your business, because that's what business people are supposed to do. So it just blows my mind that people don't realize that. And it's just kind of crazy. One of the pedal builders said, all right, I'm going to give you, he said, all right, start building me pedals for $15. I'll take 5,000 of them. So that was one of my favorite quotes. I'm not going to say who said it. So Chad, how do you feel about this statement?
Oh man. I don't even know where to go. I feel like that guy is very uneducated. Clearly doesn't understand business, which it bums me out that he doesn't understand that, so that he less understands builders and why they cost so much and stuff like that. But yeah, like as a boutique, you're buying parts that are more expensive because you're not buying high bulk. You streamline your processes as tight as you can make them. But when you're only doing runs of, like, for me, a guitar run a month is like 8 to 10 guitars. You can only go so fast. And when you're doing custom, there's a bunch of factors that go in. My guitars are by no means cheap. They're cheaper than a lot of the boutique stuff that's out there. But yeah, it's financially, it's tight. It's tight for my wife and I, and we're making it. But I'm definitely not like thriving,
Yeah, I think Doug Cower used to say, "Yeah, let me go into my Lamborghini." Like the people
Yeah,
think, like,
yeah.
he's driving this crazy expensive car, like stuff like that. Like that's a a thing too. People think that builders are living these luxurious lives whenever.
No, dude, my average day is 12 hours at the shop, and then a lot of times I'm at home answering emails, and then a lot of times I come in on Saturdays. So,
Yeah.
and a lot of times Mondays are 14 to 16 hours days as I try to kind of prepare for the week. Yeah, and then you get stuff, your margins are so tight, and then you have like, I have this one guitar right now, learning a new paint system and trying to spray metallic, and it's just not laying down right. I'm on try number 4, you know, and stuff like that. Any little margin you had, like that basically eats it up right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard, but we're doing what we love and going to keep pushing on and finding a way because we're determined, crazy people, and that's what we want to do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and the whole thing is it's you've got people don't realize it might be $15 on parts, but you as someone who knows a craft have to put a value on how much you're worth, the hours you put into stuff too, that factors in. You've got costs of the rent, you've got electric, you've got all your utilities, you've got phone bills, you got all this stuff that adds on.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's not like you run your business out of your home doing like you've already got your rent covered and all that. Like you've got to have a business, you've got to have a place to do this, and you got to pay for all this stuff. You know, the machinery is not cheap. Like,
and it breaks.
I'm sure.
And you either got to pay someone to fix it, which is really expensive, or if you're like me, you're too cheap to pay anyone, or don't have enough money, so you fix a lot of tools yourself.
Well, but I mean, it's not like you're renting a house somewhere where you just call the landlord and you're like, "Hey, man, something broke. I need you to replace it too." Like, you've got to repair some of this stuff, like in just in your shop in general too. It's like, I don't know. It just kind of blows my mind that people don't get that, and I just don't understand why people like my favorite response is always going to be, and I know it gets old, is, well, then do it. If you think you can do it better than they can, why aren't you doing it?
Because it takes a lot of time, effort, and energy.
Yeah.
And drive. I worked 14 plus hour days, 7 days a week for 3 weeks straight, trying to get NAMM guitars ready because of some changes that happened in my shop. So it was hard, and I am so glad I have a loving and supportive wife, because if she wasn't, that would have been like, that could be a marriage breaker for some people, you know?
I mean, what is it, like the top two are the top number one reason why marriages fail is usually can be finances.
Money or business, yeah.
Money, and then another one is someone is addicted or more married to their job than to their spouse. Yep.
Which can also be fueled by money, and it's hard. You know, I like working a lot. I like being productive. My wife is fairly productive, and an amazing person, but she's a people person, and I'm a productive person. So it's like we're kind of opposite ends of the spectrum, but we meet in the middle and try to learn to honor each other through everything. But yeah, it's hard. It's not easy, but I love what I do, and I wouldn't change it one bit. And I told my wife at NAMM, I was like, I wouldn't change anything about last year or how difficult or how many hours I put in anything, because of how much I've learned and how much her and I have grown.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Chris, what do you have to say about all this? You've been awful quiet.
I mean, well, I come from like a background of work that we've always like billed the customer for like what we do. And if you tell them, yes, this person, only makes, $8 an hour. but you like charge them that, you're definitely losing out money. So you have to be like, yes, this is what the person costs, but we have to charge you X amount of dollars. So that's the kind of the same way with pedals. So it's and guitars even. It's like you have your bottom line that you have to meet, but then you still have to make your profit.
Yeah. And I mean, because that's also comes, you got to turn that money into other things. And that's like, I mean, Chad, your website, I'm sure wasn't free.
Exactly.
You've got, if you process a credit card, you got to pay fees there. So
I think a lot of people forget about that one.
I mean, what I know, there's some places it's almost 3.5% of the transaction.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
So if you do that, give out any kind of discount or go through Reverb.
Yeah.
All that's eaten at the amount of money you're making.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like we're doing cash and check every day anymore. Like that's just not the way life is. So
if you want to order a Jennings
sold
guitar,
it for $15, what would people say?
Oh yeah, that's another thing.
It's like, do you really want to have somebody sell you something for that low? And because
you'd think it was crap.
Yeah, because we're in the stigma in the gear industry that's like, okay, this is probably worth whatever it's said to be. But if you bought let's just use a tube screamer for example for like $5, wouldn't you probably think it's broken and not worth anything?
Yeah. Well, and even you got to think of, I've watched literally every episode of Shark Tank, and this makes me an expert.
Making a counter of every time you bring up Shark Tank, because I think you've done it every episode so far for the last 5 episodes.
No, it has. I didn't bring it up last episode. All right, but all right. Well, listen again and send me the timestamp. But the whole thing is you've also they talk about their margins on there. They're honest with the sharks. There's people that literally mark up their price. They do it almost 20 times. They're it's in this stuff, and they're saying they're like, no, this is the target audience. That's another thing too, is it's like you're hitting your target audience. You're not, I mean, Chad, when you made the Navigator, you've got you've got a guitar and your target audience with it, and the price range, and where to hit it. That's another thing. The market has kind of dictated prices on certain things, and what demographic you're hitting for. So that's why JHS charges $199 and $179 for overdrives.
Yeah.
Because number one, people will pay for it. They know they'll pay for it. And that's the demographic they're shooting for. They want the people who will spend $200 on a pedal.
Yeah.
That's who they want using their brand. So,
and it's a weird thing. If you take that a step further, there's not only in the guitar market specifically, because there's such a range from a guitar from $100 to $3,000, $4,000, $10,000.
Yeah.
There's certain price points that people associate with certain qualities.
Very much.
And for a long time, my price points were way too low. And even right now, I'm almost priced in between kind of two price points, being there's almost the $1,200 or $1,500 and under category. Mm-hmm. And then there's also the $2,500 and up category.
Yeah.
So my Navigators start at 15, and then my solid body type guitars, being the Voyager and Catalina, they'll start at 21, and then the semi-hollow start at 24. So I'm just south. I'm just almost in between those two price points.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. And I don't think people, I'm sure if I charge, some people even argue that dude, if you charge $3,500 for what you charge $2,100 for, then you probably sell a lot more and people will pay it. And I was just like, what, really? I'm so frugal in nature. It's it's hard to believe, but totally, there's totally a mental block of price equals quality. And honestly, when I'm a buyer of products, I do the same thing. I don't buy the most expensive thing and I don't buy the cheapest thing. I usually buy something in the mid-range to like mid-range upper when it comes to like bicycles, because I love mountain biking and stuff. So that's usually what I do.
Yeah, I mean, that's true too. I mean, if you go, imagine going to the supermarket and you're looking at like chicken and you're looking, or like beef, you're looking at beef and you associate the price per pound with the quality too. Just random everyday life situation.
Yep.
So I don't know. I just think that guy was completely head in the sand.
Yeah. He was mad or angry about something and more emotion than rationale. Rationale or whatever.
I mean, because we do this, because we talk about a lot of gear that's announced before a price point's announced. So if it hits a news and they're like, the price is to be determined, usually we'll kind of say, or while we're reading the article, we'll be like, if this is over $1,500, I probably wouldn't be interested. Like, and you look at something too, and you've got that price in your head.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's interesting. All right, Chris, do you have anything else to say?
No, I think that wraps up the topic pretty good.
Everyone got their piece in. I feel like we're all on the same side. That kid just got another beating. I'm gonna send him a link to the episode.
Oh man,
I'm kidding. I'm not gonna do that. I don't do mean. No, that's mean. All right, so Chad, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, guys, thank you for having me.
It's been a lot of fun. If you check out JenningsGuitars.com.
Yep.
And it's actually a really good looking website.
Thank you.
I like the video. It's really cool. You get to have a little background video of them actually working, and it's really cool to see. So, follow his Instagram if you want to see some beautiful guitars as well.
Jennings Guitar Co. on Instagram.
Yes. And also, we got to throw a plug for ourselves. Check out our Instagram. Join our Facebook group, facebook.com/group/theeffectsloop. Check out our YouTube. If you want to listen to episodes on there, like if you're at work and you're not supposed to have like your phone out listening to stuff, you can just put it on YouTube in the background. And if you have any suggestions or ideas for topics, email us at theeffectsloop@gmail.com. And the last thing in our giant list of things I have to say every episode, check out our Patreon. If you like the show, support us. It would be great because it helps us whenever we go to Summer NAMM. It'll be really cool this year to be able to have money to put towards buying some stuff that we can check out. And also, if we get enough support, we can go to Winter NAMM.
Winter NAMM.
That's like the big leagues. Like I feel like we're playing in like arena football at Summer NAMM. And when we get to Winter NAMM, we're in the NFL, baby.
Totally.
So let's see. For the Effects Loop, I'm Diaz.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Chad.
And thanks for joining us. And that's the phone. Perfect timing.
They're calling me.
Yep. All right, we'll see you guys.
Bye, y'all.
Guys, thank you so much.
When we weed into the mindset of achieving and believing in a community that remains happy. Forever after, the world should be one. Hate annihilated, every heart is one. Love again. So don't buy